a waste of money purchase that you absolutely stand by? Story 1. When my children were young and we had little money, I would browse catalogs and cut out the pictures of things I loved, hoping that someday they would be in our budget. Years 20 have passed and we are more financially comfortable. Most of the items in my pictures are either unavailable or my tastes have changed, but I was still in love with a particular bracelet. I put it in an eBay search a few years ago, and I finally got a hit last year. I will never be sorry I bought it. Story 2. I purchased a colossal fat squirrel statue and put it in my mother's garden without telling her. Wanted to see how long till she found it. It took a few months. Totally worth the laugh. Half the family was in on it. Story 3. Getting someone in to do jobs around the house. Sometimes it is not worth the time and effort to DIY. If you don't have the time or the right tools, getting a professional in is worth it. It's less stress, and the job gets done properly. Story 4. I printed the I am a banana frame from the rejected cartoon on a 6x8 canvas and hung it in our guest bathroom off the office. My wife rarely goes in there, and my goal is for it to become part of the house and escape her notice forever. It's been almost 6 months. Story 5. I bought a solid metal, extra-large roll-top desk from a Federal Reserve building from the 40s. It's 300 lb, it cost me an embarrassing amount of money, and I love it. Story 6. I bought a motorcycle that was listed for $1,500. I was going to offer $1,200. When I started to get to the part where I say how it's not worth $1,500, he says, how about $1,000? And then I countered with, I was thinking more like $1,200. I stand by my mental illness. Thing burned more oil than gas. Story 7. I bought a restaurant-style hot dog roller a few years ago. Best thing I bought. At parties, I just toss doggies on and forget it. Only check on them every so often to turn them down or add more. Story 8. Lego sets. Some call them childish, but I just love being able to build something iconic from my favorite franchises and then stick it on a shelf. It's very satisfying. Story 9. Gestures wildly at the craft supplies that are drowning me and ruining my ability to have a cute, minimalist house. I do it all again and more though. I can make or repair anything. Don't ask me how many types of glue I have. I have 2 separate toolboxes for actual house DIY and craft. I have 2 100-gal tubs just for yarn. In about 10 hours, I will be terrorizing the local John Lewis. Need a needle felting tool. Help. Story 10. A fancy pants 20-course dinner at a Michelin star restaurant on the first night of vacation in Iceland. It was absolutely wonderful. Food, drinks, engagement with the staff. We left feeling satisfied. None of that now I need a hamburger joking. It was a you only live once kind of a dawn to a potentially once-in-a-lifetime kind of vacation. It was a chunk of the vacation budget, but at the end of it all was just lumped into the vacation experience expense. Story 11. Delivery for groceries. I call it a convenience fee, but it means I know exactly what I'm getting, how much I'm spending, and don't have to go to the bright, loud, busy supermarket. Story 12. I recently bought a $3 rubber ducky that has an eye patch and pirate hat. I do not have children. I am over 50. My pirate ducky sitting above my tub makes me and my inner Ernie happy. Story 13. I bought a refurbished tube radio from the 1920s. Atwater Kent brand. I didn't need it, but I wanted it. I have it in my office, which sort of has a dark academia vibe, and I've connected it to my phone. Is the sound quality good? Not really. Would I listen to music post 1960 on it? No, because it sounds like. Does it get hot and probably use too much power? Yes. Was it at all necessary considering a million better radios exist? No. Could I have bought a radio for $5 instead of $100 that worked 10 times better? Yes. Do I still love this outdated radio? 100, yes. Do I only listen to oldies on it? Yep, and I enjoy it. They're the only thing that sounds right on it. Does it bring me joy just looking at it and its giant speaker? Absolutely. Every time I walk by. When I first got it, did I play FDR's Pearl Harbor speech and pretend it was 1941? You bet I did and more. Story 14. I'm not saying to give in to the pressures of the wedding industry complex, but the expense of a wedding was something I was told I'd wish I'd spent on something else. And instead, I'm so glad we did it. Story 15. Ice maker. I had ice cube trays, and they worked perfectly fine. But I'm also the type of person to fill a cup absolutely full of ice, and after a couple drinks I'd use to be all out of ice cubes. Plus now my ice doesn't taste like the rest of my freezer. Story 16. 100 for rectal. Use-only stickers that have been distributed across supermarkets and DIY shops around my hometown. Who knew a 5-foot standing lamp or 24V angle grinder was for rectal use only? Now they do. Story 17. Shower mat. I had a stroke 3 years ago and had to use a shower chair for the first few months home. I live alone, so falling in the shower is terrifying. Story 18. My PC. I paid a butt ton of money on doing a custom hardline tubing, water-cooled build, and I bought all of it during the peak of the COVID chip shortage, which made everything like twice as expensive as it should have been. It was practically speaking absolutely not worth the money. But when I look at it, Well, she's just beautiful. It may not have been worth the money, but it makes me happy and I gotta play all the video games during COVID. Edit. Actually, that last bit is misleading. It was towards the end of COVID lockdowns, and actually the market for components bounced back to MSRP like month after I bought everything. C'est la vie. Story 19. Every few months, I treat myself to the most outrageously overpriced McDonald's imaginable, delivered straight to my door. What should be a humble 12 drive-through meal suddenly becomes a 50 extravaganza once you factor in delivery fees, service charges, and a fat tip to make sure it gets here piping hot. Do I feel guilty? Not even a little. I'm not paying for McDonald's. I'm paying for the luxury of eating nuggets in my pajamas without talking to a single human being, worth every greasy cent. Story 20. A new car. I don't care that I have a monthly payment. My paid-off clunker was costing me so much money it actually reduced me to tears. It was worth every penny to finance my peace of mind. Getting something that's cheap so you don't have a monthly payment ends up costing you in other ways. Story 21. Remodeling the house I grew up in after my mom passed away. My plan is to make it a rental property. Some of the things I've done are a complete waste of money as it's not going to increase the rent. Stuff like making the master bathroom bigger and replacing the chain link fence with a block wall. I did it because I think my mom would have liked it. Story 22. My Dyson Airwrap. I got scoffed at for buying a 500 hairdryer. I told him that I use it daily, then innocently asked how often he used his 600 PS5. He shut his mouth. Story 23. I'm someone who prefers having just a few objects or decorations in my apartment, and I don't mind investing in high quality or slightly expensive pieces since I don't need many of them. Story 24. If you live within a 4-hour drive of an amusement park that offers an annual pass, if that park is fun, buy it once. Go twice a month. Is the pass expensive? Probably. Will you have fun? Almost certainly. Story 25. A 1200 guitar instead of 600 guitar. A 3000 computer I built recently. IDK man, I can put a price tag on that stupid smile on my face when I'm playing Paranoid by Black Sabbath for the 700th time on a sick guitar, or playing some video game with a ton of mods at too high FPS. Story 26. Do you have a hobby that you plan on sticking with for many years? Buy the highest-end tools for it you can afford. Learning on good tools means you'll always know when it's your skill that's holding you back. Story 27. Quality tools. I have far too much in Snap-on and similar premium brands, but it's worth it. The guys that say you should have just bought Harbor Freight are the first ones to borrow tools without asking, because they won't round off the stuck bolt, or they don't hurt my hands when I'm really reefing on. If I can keep them from walking off, they will last me a lifetime. Story 28. Expensive gym. Has outdoor pool with a bar and water slides, indoor pool, childcare, indoor bar. Also, did I mention a bar, hot tub, sauna, pickleball, basketball, squash? Pretty sure it has workout equipment, but never tried. It's bananas expensive, but it is the most pampered IV ever been. Edit $450 for 3 people. It's not expensive for everyone, I guess, but for me it is. Had to cut out some other luxuries to account for this. Rational on my end is it costs the same amount for extended care at school, so I skip that and we go swimming instead. I miss the money every month, but I don't regret it for a second seeing my kids so happy. Story 29. I once bought a second hamper for the dirty clothes that I actually wash and wear more often. Had my main hamper and my secondary hamper. My girlfriend thought it was silly, but college kid me thought it was brilliant. Adult me still does as well. Story 30. For me, my greatest form of entertainment is when I can find a video game that absolutely captures me for 40 hours or so. That's money well spent for a 70 game or so. But in order to find that game, sometimes I need to buy 2 or 3 games I might like and try them out, because I can't force myself to like them. I end up not finishing a lot of them, hence the waste of money, but it's all worth it when I find that game that totally grips me again. Story 31. Houseplants. My succulents are truly just a money drain between the pots, soil, and buying new ones, but I find it worth it to have their vibrant green on my bookshelf, especially in the dead of winter. Story 32. I buy a lotto ticket every week. It's only $2, and it's fun to think about what I'd do if I won. A movie ticket costs more, and this way, I can use my imagination to create my own movie in my head. Maybe this week I'm thinking about a trip on the Orient Express. Next week, I'm thinking all of the delicious cakes I'll buy. Maybe I'm watching movie and thinking about how I'll find a seamstress to recreate all of the costumes for me. It's fun. Story 33. A 1,500 Seiko watch, when I could found it online for about 1K if I was willing to search and wait. But I wanted that particular variant. I wanted it now, and I wanted to support the business I bought it from. Story 34. Noise-canceling headphones. In theory, a frivolous expense. In practice, they're a game changer for working in an open plan area when I need to concentrate, and they've absolutely changed air travel. Story 35. My stuffed animals. They make me happy and they don't hurt anyone. My nieces get a kick out of them too. They also make a good arm prop if I get an ulcer again in my stomach and don't want my arm to put pressure there. Story 36. Physical books. I have a Kindle, and I adore it. It has dozens of books, but I really do enjoy the experience of reading a book. The feel of the pages, that book smell, the weight of it. I love it. I have 50, 60 physicals at the moment, and I'm doing my best to buy them more sparingly now. Story 37. My favorite non-essential thing I've bought is a high-quality professional fabric mermaid tail. When summertime rolls around, I'm going crazy in the pool with that thing. Story 38. Vintage luxury watches. They take up little space, can be used on occasion, have aesthetic art for art's sake appeal, and are an appreciating asset. What's not to like? Story 39. Yearly zoo membership pass. I paid my first 2 years. Now my mom gets it for my birthday each year. Best 50 closer to 60 now ever. I pack a lunch and make a day trip every other week spring through fall. And it is only about 45 minutes away. An hour if I want to avoid the freeway and take a pretty scenic route. Only 30 minutes if I go after work at my new job. Story 40. If you have worked hard, it's okay to spend some of your saved money on something stupid. I don't like most luxury brands, but there is a specific pair of LV purple shoes I want to save and get one day. They just look cool and will take my Barney costume to the next level. Just the idea of me getting them pisses off some people close to me. Story 41. Portable air conditioner. I live in Finland where most apartments do not have AC. Wife was super against it, but was convinced in a single day when the inside temperature in the apartment was 21°C instead of 30°C. Story 42. A coffee here, an ice cream there, paying the entrance fee, booking that ticket. Life was meant to be lived, and we shouldn't save every dollar. It's all the small moments that make up life. Story 43. After finishing school, I bought a Dyson vacuum cleaner for over $400 with my first paycheck from a shitty-paying full-time job. People told me that Dyson is overpriced, and to rather get a cheap or used vacuum cleaner and that off-brand cordless ones are equally good nowadays. But no. It was my first real adult money and I wanted that Dyson. Also, I have a long-haired cat, and her fluff is everywhere I bought the pet version. It has served me extremely well since and is the best purchase I ever made in my opinion. Vacuum cleaning is the only chore I truly love. Story 44. Literally every single dumb breakable piece of toy or stuffies I've bought my daughter at museum gift shops or gas stations or the dollar section at Target. They break in 4 days, or get dropped and covered in dog hair, or are lost between cushions. I don't care. They make her happy and keep her occupied and entertained, and it's a way of showing that she's loved and that she matters. She's probably spoiled. I don't care. Story 45. Any money I spend on random artworks from small or unknown artists. One of my favorites is this guy Monsters Domesticated. Having random interesting art scattered around brings joy and sparks creativity. Story 46. I'm pretty sure that for the last 12 years, I've been paying $7.99 a month for a Microsoft Word subscription I haven't opened since 2013. I'm an old person and it just feels like something I'm supposed to have. Story 47. A CRPE maker. It's depressing how much I use it and how much it improved my CRPE making skills. I own a lot of kitchen gadgets. This one was absolutely worth it. Story 48. Sometimes when an old mug breaks, you'll look it up and if it is somewhat reasonably priced on eBay, you'll rebuy it, or ask for it on a Christmas list or something. Story 49. Insulated mugs. Ever since we became parents, it was hard to have tea without any interruption. Had to reheat it multiple times. Got an insulated mug for both of us. Hot tea for more than one. 5 HRs. SP great in winters. Story 50. YouTube Premium. I hate not being in control of 100 of the content I consume. I don't want to watch anything I didn't click on. I don't want to hear anything I didn't play. And I don't want to be informed about something I don't care about. Story 51. Barnes & Noble book purchases. Yes, I know it's expensive, but it's the only chain bookstore remaining in my area, and nothing beats the anticipation of going to a bookstore and perusing the shelves. Story 52. I have a prepaid drink subscription. If I am feeling out of sorts, the office is nuts. I need to get out of the house, whatever. I just pull in and get a coffee or a tea, worry-free. It is so much more rewarding than I thought it would be, and I've had it for years now. Story 53. Travel trailer. Financially, it's absolutely impossible to justify, but it gets us out of the house, and we have made some incredible memories as we've traveled across the country. Story 54. Moleskine notebooks and journals. Makes me feel like I'm in a mist game when I write on them. And I've got quite a little collection at this point. Overpriced paper? Probably. Still love them though. Story 55. Bath bomb addiction. The ones I buy are not cheap, and they just end up down the drain without changing your life that much. But I'm a nice person and life can just be brutal sometimes, so I don't effing care. For the 10 minutes I get to myself in a nice bath. Worth it. And we are all worth it. Story 56. Paying for car washes. I know I can wash it cheaper myself and the thing will just get dirty again, but I feel better driving a clean car and would rather have somebody else do it for me. Story 57. My lizard. He just makes me happy. Much happier than the money I spend on him would I just saved it. When I see the gears slowly turning in his tiny little brain until he eventually recognizes Bug directly in front of him, it's worth every cent. Story 58. A heated blanket. Sounds like something your grandma would get excited about, but I swear it changed my entire winter vibe. Could I survive without it? Yes, sure. But do I want to? Absolutely not. It's like being hugged by a warm cloud. I plug that thing in, burrito myself up, and instant coziness. It feels like a little luxury that makes cold nights kind of amazing. Even if it was a tiny splurge, I regret nothing. Story 59. YouTube Premium. Yeah, shitty company, bad reputation, all that I know. But being able to fall asleep to super niche video essays and documentaries at night without being blasted by annoying ads is really nice. Listening to video essays and stuff while at work is amazing, and it's nice being able to play music videos non-stop on it during house parties. Especially later as people start getting tired and are done with beer pong and dare Jenga and just want to wind down and chit-chat. Story 60. I pay a subscription for a food delivery service and the premium service for DoorDash. I think it's called Dash Pass. I'm single and live alone, and I find grocery shopping and cooking to be massive wastes of time and money. One food delivery service allows me to plan my meals. Since they come pre-packaged, I'm basically paying someone to prep healthy meals for me. The only things I really clean up are utensils. 2. I DoorDash literally everything else, unless they're very specific and expensive purchases. If I need something basic like home supplies, cleaning sprays, detergents, toilet paper, etc., I order them on DoorDash 30 minutes before I get home from work. It saves me making a stop and allows me to beeline my way home. The most important part is that it stops me from buying random knickknacks. 3. If I feel like splurging on some not-so-healthy food, I'll order something on DoorDash and spend that 30 to 45 minutes waiting to do chores like cleaning and organizing my home. I have no problem trading my money for more time, LOL. Story 61. Pickup and delivery laundry service. I live in an apartment in a very old building that doesn't have laundry in the building, so I had to go to a laundromat a couple of blocks away. Several years ago, I had surgery that had me in a cast, then a boot on crutches, then in PT for a few months after, so going up and down stairs and walking 2 blocks with a laundry bag was just not going to happen. So I started doing laundry service. Once I got back on my feet, I was like, man, listen, I am advanced in my career. I make a good salary. I can spend $150 a month on never having to schlep laundry again. Worth every penny. Story 62. I never wanted pets in the house when I had a house full of children. We rescued a kitten from the ditch along the road and then acquired some more. And I love the 3 indoor cats. Story 63. I have a horse. Tons of people think that's a giant waste of money. And if you're not a horse person, I get it. But after 17 years, I feel like he was worth every penny. I spent all my free time in high school riding and caring for horses instead of getting into trouble. I learned the value of hard work, dedication to something that depended on me, and how to get back up when you literally fall down. I even went into animal care as a career for years, sparked from a love of caring for the horses. Has my most expensive of my fur babies, but I love the out of him. Story 64. Weed. We spend a good amount at the dispensary each month. We moved across the country to have access. My husband has epilepsy and my daughter autoimmune encephalitis. They are both seizure-free using cannabis oils. Story 65. My brand new car. Yes, I know that typical financial advice says to buy a used car in cash and not to have a car payment. However, I put myself through undergrad and pharmacy school while driving a tiny tech-less Toyota Yaris for 17 years. I drove that car another 4 or 5 years to put off getting my dream car so I could pay down my student loans substantially. I bit the bullet last year and bought my beautiful new car, and it's worth every penny. I feel a sense of joy and pride every time I get in. And it's been a year now, and that feeling hasn't gone away. I took out a car loan for 5 years, but I'm on track to pay it off in less than 2. One of the best decisions I've ever made. Story 66. I won an egg cooker in a lottery over 30 years ago. Thought it was the silliest gadget ever since any capable adult can boil eggs in a saucepan. Thing turned out to be an epiphany. Used so little water and took all the guesswork out of boiling an egg to desired perfection, whether soft or hard or in between. I'm on my 3rd egg cooker now. Arguably anything that is not essential. Story 67. Expensive overseas travel. Provided that you are not working 3 jobs just to survive, you have not truly traveled unless you have visited another continent. If I died in Europe, I would die happy. Story 68. A pillowcase with a rainbow and a giant print of Nicolas Cage's face. We randomly put it on our guest bed when company is coming and refer to it as Nicolas Case. Story 69. Bought a folding phone. Now it would be tough to go back. I love this thing. I find new uses for the big screen and love it more over time. Surprisingly, never had any reliability problems. Story 70. It's niche to parenting, but everything says you don't need a bottle washer, and after 6 months of taking care of my twins and pumping 6-8 times a day, I can assure you I definitely do. Story 71. My family thinks it's a waste of money when I throw birthday parties for my dog, Echo, or when I throw Echo-themed parties next month. I'm throwing an Echo-themed grad potluck. I graduated from university recently and decided to make it Echo-themed. I do Echo trivia during the parties and people love it. It makes me happy, makes my dog happy, and brings joy into other people's lives. Story 72. Weezer tickets near the front row at the back of general admission for the Voyage to the Blue Planet tour. They're one of my favorite bands. I loved seeing them at Minute Maid Park, but I had nosebleeds, and that kinda sucked. This tour, as close as reasonably possible, and even then I deleted the memory of how much I paid, but it was worth it. Story 73. Paying people to clean the house and iron our clothes. Yes, it costs me money every month, but my God, the time I save not having to clean my place or iron my clothes and the relaxed feeling I get from it, priceless. On a more frivolous note, my bonsai growing set. It was about 40 bucks for the seeds and accessories, but I'm invested in growing those little plants, even though it will be years before I even get a decent tree out of it. Story 74. I bought a temperature-controlled butter dish. My wife thought it was a ridiculous purchase. Perfect spreadable butter every time. We use it daily. Story 75. We were nearing the end of our Japan trip, and me and my fiancé bought way too much stuff, so we had to buy a new carry-on suitcase. We found several stores selling suitcases for around 10, but stumbled upon a bright yellow Pikachu-themed suitcase for 80. Honestly, the quality wasn't any better than the cheap ones, but we thought it looked super cool and cute, so we got that instead. It makes me happy every time we use it and look at it. Well worth it for us. Story 76. Lego. The guy who invented the idea is a true genius. I used to have a box of random bricks when I was little, and my big brother used to build me amazing things, just with his imagination and no instructions. Now it's a bit more boring because you could only build what's on the label, but still, the amount of detail and the little Easter eggs and references they put in always blows my mind. Story 77. A fancy coffee machine that cost more than my first car. Everyone laughed when I bought it, but I've saved thousands by not going to Starbucks anymore. Been using it daily for 4 years now? Do the math. Story 78. I can't bring myself to purchase Alfredo sauce in a jar. Working in restaurants, I know how easy it is to make good Alfredo from scratch, so I insist on buying the pecorino and parmigiano. I go an extra step with chicken broth made from my Costco rotisserie bones too, and everyone loves it. Story 79. I pay a company to cut my lawn and do the trimming. I live alone, and they can get it done in under 15 mins, where it's an hour and a half for me to do it myself, and I don't have the expense of buying a ride-on and maintaining it fixing it. Story 80. I purchased an Apple MacBook Air that my boss ordered in a wrong color. This was back in 2015, cost me about $1 and change. It still works, and I still use it till today. Story 81. Car wash and interior cleaning. To me, it's an expensive splurge, but there are no words to accurately describe how much I hate spending hours of my time trying to clean the carpets and windows. Story 82. Beach house vacations. I don't want to be on the 8th floor of a beach condo, or in a house that's 2 blocks off the beach with a golf cart. I want my back door to look out over the beach. I don't want to share my space with a few hundred other folks that are renting chaise lounges. Story 83. I bought a tiny hooded sweatshirt for my car's stick shift. Sure, it keeps the surface warmer in winter and cooler in summer, but mostly it's because it's adorable and fills me with joy. Story 84. Video games. When I spend $60 on a video game, not only am I getting a form of art I enjoy, which to some may be a waste of money, but I am also getting days and nights worth of entertainment. When I spend an evening at home playing the game, it's usually in place of going to the bar or going to a concert or going out and spending easily 60 or more in a single night. So that 60 I spent on a game that will get me dozens of nights worth of fun is actually saving me money in the long run too. At least this is what I tell my wife, so if any of you wise asses have any retorts, keep them to yourself. Story 85. DoorDash. I have a written record of what I ordered, a paper trail, and if my order is wrong, I can appeal it and get my money back. The amount of times I ordered Chinese or Italian food before DoorDash, dealing with a frustrated person on the other end who couldn't understand me, and vice versa, only to pick it up and find something is wrong and not get what I ordered or my money back. It's worth the extra cost. Story 86. Anything in real life or a video game that is purely cosmetic, even if it doesn't serve a purpose but brings you joy, then don't worry about what other people think. Story 87. I've always purchased expensive, well-made beach chairs. Current is the Tommy Bahama with the cooler pouch and backstrap, $95 each. Worth every penny. Note the TBs sold at Costco are 402 pack, are made with cheap plastic versus steel, and the cheapies break in a few uses or one plop down. Story 88. A custom-made windshield cover for the outside of the car for when there is freezing rain. I use it max twice a year, but would be it again in a second when I am not scraping for 30 minutes. Story 89. Mine is paying for a personal trainer. I know the average Redditor will just tell me to find a YouTube workout plan and stick with it, but my personal trainer is worth it. I gained 1.5 lbs muscle in less than a month by having bi-weekly sessions. He knows my goals, what I'm capable of, and exactly how far to push me. Story 90. Weed. Supplies to grow weed. I'm in at Ames 1K, but my first grow paid for itself. Plus, there's no way I can use all of it myself, so I get to give a lot of it away and make some friends happy. I have a neighbor that uses it for pain, and I happily fork it over when I have extra.